and welcome to the 93rd edition of Marex Maritime News.
Nine out of the 10 top ship managers for 2021, selected by Lloyd's List, put their trust in one significant chunk of seafarers, Indian. Speaks volumes indeed for Indian seafarers who are today the top choice of employers across the global ship management industry.
The headlines on Monday, the 22nd of November 2021. MASA announces a reward scheme for excellence. New Chinese data law creates havoc. Bureau Veritas and BESSE to strengthen cybersecurity in the maritime sector. Baltic Index slides to 5-month low. The Maritime Association of Ship Owners, Ship Managers and Agents, MASA, recently announced a reward scheme for students undergoing preparatory courses for COCs at both its academies in Navi Mumbai and Chennai.
At MASA, we believe in promoting professionalism and excellence. And in pursuance to that objective, the two academies of MASA were set up, one in Navi Mumbai and the other one in Chennai. Both these academies conduct competency courses, that is the preparatory courses for competency examinations, and DG approved modular courses. The effort of both these academies has always been to focus on professionalism, excellence, which will improve the prospects of growth of Indian seafarers. In pursuance with that objective, they have now launched a new reward scheme for the students. Those students who pass all their functions in the competency examinations, that is, those students who have studied at the MASA academies and pass all competency examinations, all the functions of the examinations at the first attempt, will be rewarded by in kind by allowing them to undertake a modular course of their choice free of cost. This facility has been extended to the candidates of second mates examination, mates phase 1, phase 2 and MEO class 2, and the modular course which they will be entitled to undertake should be at any MASA academy. It's not necessary that a student who appeared in Mumbai has to do the course in Mumbai. He can appear in Chennai if he wants to. So let's hope that the students and take advantage of this acknowledgement of their excellence, of their performance, and let's hope that the companies encourage them to do so. Let us see how this pans out. But we stand committed to excellence and professionalism.
China's Personal Information Protection Law, which came into effect on November 1st, has added to a raft of new rules designed to increase government control over how domestic and foreign organizations collect and export Chinese data. Shipping sources informed that ships in Chinese waters are disappearing from tracking systems, which is frustrating rather than easing bottlenecks that are snarling the global economy. The data provides information on cargo volumes and helps optimize logistics by predicting congestions, so companies can make key decisions on shipping routes. To respond to the increasing threat of cyber attacks in the maritime sector, Bureau Veritas BV and insurance consultancy major BESSE have announced a partnership to support ship owners with tailored solutions to improve their cybersecurity and cyber insurance. This partnership process includes conducting a complete inventory of equipments, systems, and networks connected at sea and on land, conducting a cyber risk analysis to identify vulnerable systems and equipment, and enabling ship owners, operators to ensure compliance with IMO cybersecurity requirements, to name a few. The Baltic Exchange's dry bulk sea freight index on Tuesday declined to its lowest level since early June, weighed by lower demand for the larger Capesize and Panamax vessel segments.
In the fourth quarter of last year, the markets were what they were, quite low, and then we saw the markets going up. In March, we started to feel very optimistic about where the markets will go, and rightly so. On the 7th of October, we saw Cape touch almost $86,000 to $87,000 a day, and that's on the average of the 5 TCs. Some of the fixtures which were done for the front haul, they were much higher than that. And then what happened? As usually we see with the Capesize, the volatility is quite high. The markets came down to less than $30,000 a day. The smaller sizes, they have been a bit more resilient, especially the Ultramax and the Supramax, which dropped just by 40% compared to the peak during this year. But the Panamaxes, they took a huge beating, falling more than 50% of the peak that we saw this year. Now, when we talk about Cape, from 88,000 going down to less than 30,000 was a huge drop. So if we look at our earlier table, which we say the JM's Great Cycle and JM Super Cycle, I generally refer to this particular table as a reference mark. The year to date still is pretty high during this year, which is more than twice of the average of 2019 and 2020. But the drop in the recent weeks has been quite huge. As I mentioned, the Cape's dropping by 66%, Panamax is 51%, and Supramax is by 38%. On Friday, which is on the 19th of November, market started looking a little bit optimistic going forward. Little bit, I must say. If you see this red line over here, that is the curve, current curve from FIS, which shows how the people, how the players are looking at the market going forward. So there's a parallel increase, not only for the remainder part of this year, but also for the next year. Now, what are the reasons for this happening? Is it permanent, or it is just that the market is taking a breather? If it is just taking a breather and the fundamentals remain quite similar to what we saw earlier, then this could be a fantastic opportunity for those who are looking to spot one. Let's look at some of the supply, demand, money, and regulatory issues. The bulkers grew by 3.1% year to date. Now, if we compare this growth with what we saw in March, that was 1.7%. So in terms of supply, there is a bit more supply of ships. And then the ships have been speeding quite a lot, almost going at full speed. Everybody wants to reduce the voyage duration. Thereby, they can earn more money. So the talk of reducing the carbon emission for the time being has been kept in abeyance. But what happens because of that to the supply side? Supply virtually increases. The ships are still there. but they are completing the voyages in a shorter time. So they are ready to carry the next cargo sooner. And from the Bancosta report, if we see that the number of units, now here it's all the units together, starting from VLOCs right up to the Handysize, 314 units, and only 55 units were demolished. And also in the first 10 months of 2021, 243 units were contracted. Those were the new building orders. Now, if we immediately jump to the money part, somehow we don't learn the lessons. When I say we, means we, the investors and the bankers. The percentage order book, which was low, and we said that order book shall remain low because nobody knows what type of ships to order, where it was just 5.8% in March 21, has risen up to 6.8% in November 21. The only thing holding back still is that uncertainty about the compliant propulsion fuels. If that wasn't there, we would see far more orders, provided there is space in the shipyards. Shipping stocks, because of the recent meltdown, have gone through a huge loss of value across all the exchanges. If you look at the Hong Kong Stock Exchange or the Norway or even US, the shipping stocks have lost quite a lot of value during the last few weeks, even though the overall index has been going up, be it Dow Jones or Nasdaq, or even looking at the Hang Seng Index. On the demand side, the 2021 steel production is down. Iron ore is also down. And when I say down, means as compared to March 21, where it was 4% and 3%, now year on year, it is just showing around 2% each, while the coal has gone up from 5 to 6%. Now, when we talk about coal, on the next slide, we are going to see on a long-term basis what may happen to the issue of coal. Cape, because of the iron ore prices being down, reduced steel production, easing of logistic bottlenecks. Even now, the ships which are stuck in the ports are quite high, but still there is a slight reduction in the constraints caused by the logistics. Is it a sign to be worried about capes? But we all know that capes have a quality to surprise everyone. Panamax steep fall, possibly this is an opportunity. Nobody is taking ships on period right now because people think market is going to go further down. This could present an opportunity for those people who missed it in March, April this year. Ultra, Supra, they are far more resilient, but short term, we expect a softer tone. Again, it might present an opportunity for some good period deals. On the regulatory side, let's see what's going to happen starting today from 22nd to 26th of November, the 77th session of MEPC. Not much, I think, was achieved in COP26. There were a lot of talks, but then we saw even Indonesia going back on the deforestation issue, even after agreeing to it in the beginning. So the biggest problem is the countries need to speak one language, they need to come together, but then the interests are very different. There are a lot of talks about the developed countries have already polluted, they continue to pollute. Now the restrictions are being placed on the developing countries, which somehow they cannot accept because their own people need to have a better quality of life. They need to have their economies growing. Recently, during the Hong Kong Maritime Week 2021, everybody agreed that we need to move from the short-term solutions to long-term solutions. So what is the short-term solution to long-term solution? What does it mean? Short-term solution is looking at things like CII, looking at things like EEXI. We are looking at energy saving devices, slow speed, engine power limitation. So these are all short-term. The focus while we are doing this to comply with the immediate requirements, the focus has to be on long-term. Focus has to be on the compliant, sustainable, renewable fuels for propulsion, and that is extremely important, and that needs R&D, and R&D needs money. Is carbon levy a solution? This is something which we are going to see in future. Now, what are the things to watch for if we sit today and look into the nearby future? MEPC, as I mentioned, the 77th session, which is now from today up to 26th of November. Let's see what happens. Coal shoulder, stop financing pledges. Even China has given that pledge that they are not going to be supporting the coal power plants in countries even outside their borders. So maybe they will remain on the drawing board. Nobody knows. Order book, what is happening behind the closed doors? The contracts which have been dated backwards and then shown compliance with today's regulations. So we don't know what's happening there. Iron ore prices, Chinese steel production, real estate slowdown because of this issue, another issue which is called the Evergrande issue. Now this could have a bit of lasting impact, which then of course has effect on the steel production, which in turn has effect on the iron ore prices, then the requirement for the iron ore. All this is interlinked, and hence the Cape rates, freight rates. Australia, Brazil, iron ore to China ton miles. So recently we saw that from Australia, the iron ore was relatively less than what it was from Brazil. So that means 3 times more ton miles. So all these things too have impact on our business. Coal, tight supplies, and now we have the winter months coming. So that's another area where a lot of uncertainty is there. As far as China is concerned, we know the percentage of coal import. Of course, they are now using their domestic a bit more. The effect of China's increasing or decreasing coal imports can have major impact rather on the dry bulk market. Inefficiencies in the system, logistics, that is the port congestion, vessel speed, that is something to be looked at. Then we need to watch out post stocking. As we know that Q1 is generally a very bad quarter with regards to weather in Brazil as well as in Australia. So Chinese steel mills and others, they tend to stock up iron ore, coal, coking coal, etc. during the Q4. But we are seeing this time Q4 is not bringing very surprises that we expected earlier, moving on from Q3 to Q4. So in this gloom, as it looks short term, the brave look for and spot opportunities.
Grief-stricken, we inform you that Captain Gautam Kumar, a marine pilot with JNPT, breathed his last in Fortis Hospital, Vashi. He is survived by his wife and 2 sons. May God Almighty give his family the strength to bear this irreparable loss. Om Shanti.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching. See you next Monday.